time to shout a customary greeting.
Oh, shit. Okay.
No, I mean, like, unless you don't want to. You don't have to.
No, I was just, for some reason, I was waiting for a cue, and I realized, oh, I am the cue.
You're the cue. You bring it in.
Look at me. I am the cue now. Okay.
I'm looking.
Hello, Sonic City Council is now in session. Thank you once again for inviting us into your headphones, your car, your home, your mind. I am once again joined by the lovely, illustrious Davey Sipes.
Good to see you, Commodore.
Oh, yes, you are looking quite rugged today.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you kindly. Thank you kindly. Welcome back, citizens. Gavel 'em on in.
Yes.
I'm in character again.
Yeah, you are. Well, you're a character all the time.
Oh.
Yes.
Too true.
Very true.
All right, what brings us hither, Don?
Well, we are hither done.
Sorry about the Shakespeare.
Yeah, no. Shakespeare always throws me through a little bit of a loop. Like, what light through doth yonder window breaks? I don't know what he's talking about. Windows breaking? Doth? That's the snow world in Star Wars,
I thought
right?
Doth is the thing that lives in the trees and moves real slow. That's super cute, right?
Yeah, it's also that.
Doth is from Zootopia.
Yeah,
okay.
It's also that.
It's also that.
Yeah, we are gathered here today because we are speaking with the multi-talented NappyHIGH, who is a mixing engineer, producer, occasionally hip-hop rapper, artist, lyricist, man.
Hip-hop rapper, lyricist, man.
Yeah. Yeah, we're speaking with him today just because he's, I don't know.
A cool dude who you know.
Yeah.
Who makes ridiculously dope tracks and puts them out on records that he has really amazing rappers rap over. And he's moving up the ranks of the game, as we call it, where I'm from and where you're not from.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the official terminology. The game.
As it were.
Yeah, as it were. Yes. Exactly.
Monaco.
Yeah, I've met Nappy a couple times at local shows, and he's always been really cool and trying to, again, not just have this be a podcast echo chamber of talking to people that I know and I'm friends with and, all that sort of thing.
Again, we're never going to apologize for how well connected and how gratifying it is to know you.
Well,
okay. We won't. You can dispute it all you want, citizens, but we're proud that he's so personable and that he has such a wide reach.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to branch out to people that I am not as acquainted with or I never actually had a conversation with before. So this will be one of those podcasts, and excited to see how it goes today.
So it's like that, for you, it's kind of like the eyes wide shut ceremony, like you're blindfolded right now? Or?
Sure, yeah. Out of all
Did I make it weird again?
Out of all the references you could have picked, I'm going to go with sure.
While you were talking, that's the movie that I was watching in my brain.
I don't know, also equally frightening.
Yeah.
Well, without further ado, let's get into the conversation.
Huzzah.
NappyHIGH, thank you so much for joining us today on Sonic City Council. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hell yes.
It was kind of, exactly.
Yes, welcome aboard.
Yes. It's so funny because I think we met at one of my shows with my band, right? It was out here in Lancaster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I met Dylan and then, from there. That's when I watched you guys,
Yeah, and then, ended up, I met you, and then I knew that you were a producer, and I knew that you made music. But then actually when Dylan was in your video for it was LA Summer, right? That was the song that he was in the video for? Yeah. Then I actually started delving into your catalog and getting into it after that and really liked it because it's got this kind of cool West Coast, soulful, jazzy vibe that, it's a blend of a bunch of different styles, I feel like. And it was really cool, man. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for listening.
Fuck yeah.
Hey, you were good too, man. That band was sick.
Oh,
Dude,
thanks,
that
dude.
set was good, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
he had the house rocking. That shit was tight.
Oh, thank you so much, man. Hey, you
Should
know,
we say where you guys were at?
yeah, it was American Legion, I think, out here. The good old American
the
Legion.
old hall.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And hey,
That's a
man.
good spot, actually. I like it.
Yeah,
it's a good
it
room
is.
considering
It
what
is.
we have
Yeah.
out here.
Well,
Good
yeah,
hangout.
it is.
for sure.
It is. Well, hey, man, I was gonna say I don't know if we could ever put something like this together, but I'd be down to like potentially do some shows together and do like the vibey thing with a band playing, and then you go up and do something. That'd be killer.
Oh,
Dude,
Yeah.
my dream is to have a band while I'm playing the keys along with the band for like
Oh,
a
man.
whole set, like 45 minutes, an hour.
Yeah.
That'll be sick. And have like different artists on my tracks like come out for a song and we play with them. Then the next artist comes out, things like that. Dude, that's my dream right there.
Yeah, that would be cool, man. Yeah, I would love to see that sometime. Especially, because it's one thing to have the tracks that you have and to, just listen to it on Spotify, but to see something like what you have, your music live with a full band would be killer.
Oh, that'd be money.
Oh,
dude, because it's so lush and so deep sounding. I'm just like, oh yeah, to have that with like the individual instrumentation would be fucking sick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
dude.
Yes. Dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and speaking about that, you've dubbed the term on this show the origin story when we delve into how people get into music, how they started playing. You trademarked it. It's
Don't touch it, internet.
It's registered. I wanted to get into kind of where where you started playing keys, how you started getting into music, because like we mentioned, just a second ago, you've got such an eclectic range of influences. So like, how did that all start for you?
Oh man. Well, it's definitely my dad for sure. Like anything that has to do with like 70s or like soulful or disco house and disco in general, like anything 70s was my dad. And then my brothers, my oldest brother, he showed me like bands like Tool, Red Hot Chili Peppers, things like that. So the instrumentation I loved, because Danny Carey, he uses such different types of instruments. And then like as far as like hip hop, West Coast, things like that, Wu-Tang too, that was my other brother. And then my sister, she kind of showed me like the R&B type thing, like I guess like Aaliyah, things like that, 90s R&B. But I'm the youngest of 4 siblings, so growing up, I just absorbed everything and then just made it my own, But that's about it.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. And, it's obviously super beneficial when you have, like, I got it from friends because I'm an only child, but when you have the older brother.
Sweet only boy.
Yeah,
yes,
I know.
Man.
But, like, when you have that older brother that goes, hey, listen to this, and can actually point you in the right direction, and you have family that can do that, or, like, thankfully I had that from my dad, too. It's like, when you can get that foundation and you get that push, then I feel like...
Oh, dude, I gotta say. Yeah. Being the youngest of 3 and my big sister's influence was clutch. Like, it means so much as I keep going musically to think that, like, the reason I was into different music so quickly was because she showed me all the stuff she listened to.
Yeah, exactly.
So I felt like I definitely was ahead of the curve by that. So I love that. Being the youngest, you have that benefit of the trickle-down effect with the... you get to steal the cool clothes and shit too out the closet.
At that age, you're like a sponge, you just absorb everything. You're not really close. I mean, I think in my opinion, like me being the youngest and absorbing all that, it like kept me open-minded even to this day. Like someone will show me new types of music and I'm never like, nah, like I think I'll stick to I'm always open to hearing new things. And I think that's beneficial to being an artist, being open-minded for sure.
Yeah.
Must be done.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, and I've was watching a couple interviews of yours and reading one from different, I think it was, I forget the name of the magazine, but it was the one in your Instagram bio, and then was watching an interview you did on YouTube. And you were talking about, your love of Stevie Wonder. And I thought, okay, obviously I can hear that. And I can hear that in your music, all day. But then when you're talking about Jay Dilla being just as big of an influence, it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense too, because some of the timing on the beats that you're using is really, you know, it's groovy, but it's got sort of flat tire, you know, not quite, you know,
Yeah.
on time, quantized, perfect thing, you know? And so it's cool when you can meld those sensibilities together.
Shit, man, that's cool, man. That's cool you picked up on that. But
yeah.
just by
dude,
influences,
totally.
you know, but
yeah. Well, and
it does his homework.
Yeah, I mean,
that's for sure.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
think in my opinion, that's like that real tight, even when you're using like studio production, things like that, and not live instrumentation, I think making it sound like that, it makes it feel better, you know, it feels more authentic. So, I mean, I could make a song that could be on the radio for like a certain type of artist, like a pop artist, whatever, but it's not going to be the same. So I just kind of stick to what I love to do, you know?
Right. Well, and that's such a popular style too, because I mean, after Jay Dilla, you know, is kind of almost a household name at this point with how many artists give him shout outs all the time. Like
definitely.
Like I've heard Flea, you know, when he did the What's in My Bag from Amoeba, you know, he bought some of those records and he's like, and he was like, check this out. You know, Questlove all day, you know, being a fan of his, like, well, you know, always talks about Dilla. And
I hear roots in your music, Nappy. Let me tell you, and I love that. I hear that. Like it sounds like the live band element, bro.
Yeah,
because they're my favorite of all time.
Thanks,
sure.
man.
Philly's
you know, I
man,
have a feeling
chill.
this year I might work with Black Thought, so that might be coming up too. I hope.
Okay,
man.
Okay.
I'll pray on that for you, man, because that dude is the
man. Get that manifestation.
Fuck yeah,
going.
you and Tariq getting down. That's what I like to hear. That's fucking sick.
Well, I'm actually gonna work with Benny the Butcher soon and he works with Black Thought a lot. So I'm gonna tell him.
Oh, wow.
So we'll see about that.
Okay.
Bro,
yeah, man. That's
good
super exciting.
Yeah.
Super exciting.
That's actually the first time I said that in an interview too.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for the exclusive, baby.
Yeah.
Bro. Exclusivo.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Shit.
Well, since we're talking about production and studio stuff, I want to know, like, how do you build a track from, and obviously, like, things are going to vary, you know, and you're going to have maybe a different process from song to song, but if you can, like, let's start at the beginning of, like, where you would build a track, like, whether you're creating the beat or maybe you find a sample and then you're layering keys on top of that and then adding in effects. Like, I'm curious how your process starts and then how it ends.
I think, like you said, it varies, but let's say, I mean, you guys know, making a song out of scratch, you kind of just build a melody or an idea first, maybe a 4-bar loop or something.
Yeah.
But to me, I think the most interesting part of making music is samples, because sampling is the shit. Because I'll find samples from everywhere, Brazil, Japanese records, real obscure shit, but I'll find all these records, I'll listen to it. I'm not gonna sample it, but I'm gonna find the parts first. And I kind of just hang out, just, you know, go out, chill with the homies, go to shows, things like that. But I'm kind of building up a library of samples for maybe a month or so. And then once I find that, you know, I find that spark, then I'll go back, listen, then I'll make beats out of them, things like that. Because sometimes I like to just lay down and hear records. I don't want to think about making music.
Yeah.
So when it comes to actually sampling and making the beat, I like to gather them up and really focus that way first. Because then I could just pop them out, you know, like 5, 10 at a time, and then send them to whoever, things like that. But I guess, you know.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's how lately I've been doing that.
Okay. And that's cool, because then you kind of have a whole list of ideas to kind of start with, as opposed to trying to find something in the moment. You might be stuck then. Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes I'll even make, I mean, even right now, this next album I'm working on, I thought of it all within like a 2-month span. And I'm kind of just executing it now, like just day by day. But I already know what I'm gonna have to do, what I want. So it's like, I don't know, it's just easier for me to work that way.
Yeah.
And listening to a couple of these records, I gotta say there's like strong thematic elements. So I'm not surprised to hear you say you worked on it in a 2-month span, because it feels like they feel very tightly conceived in a very good way. I would almost call them concept albums, but I don't know how that kind of label strikes you.
Yeah.
But I mean that in like all my favorite albums are concept albums. But like the difference between like the vibe on Weekdays versus Villains, which I'm like, I can't fucking get over right now. That fucking album is bananas, bro.
Thanks,
but I'm
man.
like, the vibe is like, they're both good. They sound like the same cat, but they really feel like somebody who's just like really stretching the like and just going like, oh, this is part of my sound now. And you know what I mean? But the vibe especially seems very contained within each album. And then they have a different sound when you go to the next one, kind of. I'm picking that up.
Yeah.
Is that like
they're all
is that
very
just a part of your
different.
process, would you say? Like naturally
I think,
it kind of arrives like that, or?
That's kind of interesting you said that, because the other day this guy walked up to me and he like heard my music. He's telling me, and he's like, "Hey man, like when I listen to Villains, like I think of a movie. Like your music sounds like a movie." And I was like, "Oh, it's pretty interesting." Like, because I try to make it in depth, like you said, like, and just make it its own sound. Like once you play the album from the first song to the last song, you're kind of in tune with it, and you're kind of building this own image of your imagination of hearing the music. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's kind of, but it's different for everybody, like you said, and that's all I want. Like for me, like when I made that album, I was just telling my story, and these other rappers with their stories, but someone else will hear it and feel a different type of way. So, but I guess that's just music. But I mean,
no,
I would say
different, but
I would say my albums are that way. Yeah, I try to make them real like not complex, but just I don't want to waste my time making an album that's like half-assed, things like that. Like I really want to think about the concept, the cover art is perfect, the artists are perfect, the features, the transitions, the samples, everything has to be perfect. Otherwise I just wouldn't drop it.
Right.
Man.
Yeah. And the cool part about it is there is in all of, like, generally the songs I was listening to, one of the ones I was listening to on the way over was Get Down off the new record. And and it's got it's like a simplistic element to it, but there are a lot of moving parts at the same time. So I'm sure getting all of that stuff to where it sits right with you, not just in the mix, but just even before that with, is this the right part? Is this, the right combination of ingredients for all of these things? You want to make sure it feels right to you before you just release it. It feels simple, yet it also feels like it is a little bit like meticulous and refined too, because there's a lot of moving parts in these songs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I love that song too, and Iman Omari's. I grew up listening to his albums. Oh, it says you have a low battery or something. Oh, your screen is black. I can't see you.
Oh,
what?
No.
Oh, look at that.
Can you?
The camera died. It did.
Oh, hold on a sec. You can still hear us, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, we're just having a issue with our camera at the moment. Oh, there we go.
Oh, wow.
There it is.
It's in the adapter. That's the silliness.
Back up and running.
Woo!
Yeah,
Tech
good.
Wizard, Max.
Cool. Thank you, Max.
Max Taylor, the maximum.
It's not a podcast. Something doesn't go wrong. It's not a podcast.
It's so true, dude.
That's
so
all right.
True.
We're chilling. We're cool.
Yeah, back in business.
We're
back in business. Anyway, but yeah, it's I think we're talking about things just being,
the details
the
level of detail in the music from song to song, album to album is definitely present. It's very evident. And the adjective I kept thinking of on my way over listening to Villains again was cinematic. Like, it's like, and also like the way that songs don't just end and go into the next one. They feel like they transition
they do.
Without any sort of real, it just feels very progressive from moment to moment. And again, another trademark of my favorite albums that usually get labeled conceptual, but it could be Pink Floyd, it could be Kendrick.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the hallmark of what it is to me is the hallmark of somebody who's actually writing music, who's actually writing hip hop as music and knows how to put these elements together.
Yeah.
And I can tell by the keys that you pick the samples from and stuff, like in the particular choices, I'm like, this dude is pretty damn musical. He must play or something.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like it comes out huge in this music, man. It's extra. It's so dope. It's so dope.
Love it, man. You got it right on the nail. Like,
yeah,
it has to me, like, that's more, I like albums, like those are my favorite albums too. Like you said, it could be any band, any hip hop artist, singer, but I feel I just pay attention more. You know, I'm like, man, like I know what effort it took to make that transition or to think about it. Like, or sometimes like I hear it and I'm just like, damn, how did they do that? Like,
yeah.
I mean, you mentioned Pink Floyd, dude. Fuck. Like, those dudes are classic, man. Fucking sick.
Straight up.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're still losing our mind about Pink Floyd, aren't we?
You know,
Tool.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Tool too reminds me of them a lot too. I think Tool's like probably
definitely.
Yeah,
as far
Pink
as
Floyd.
like
a heavy Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Yeah, it's you know, and I like that too because when Kendrick Lamar came out with To Pimp a Butterfly, I remember I was waiting for an artist to do like a huge artist to do concept records like that because again, Pink Floyd, The Who with like Tommy and Quadrophenia and
I knew you would mention that.
Yeah, like all those albums where it's a whole cohesive piece. I was like, well, where's the modern version of that? I don't care what style it comes in. I don't care who the artist is. It's like, I just want something like that. And then that whole album was a masterpiece. Same thing with Good Kid, Mad City. Like,
definitely.
Damn, also a masterpiece. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what style it is. I think that, you know, for me, I always enjoy anybody that's thinking about something, you know, music like that as a full cohesive work because, you know, as you said before, you could sit here and chill all day. It's like, well, if you're going to sit here and chill all day, what do you want to do? You know, it's like, I want to probably listen to music. You know, I want to take something in and I want to absorb like a whole piece, right? You know, and I like individual songs, but, you know, for me, I'm still into the album, you know, and people who are coming out with full albums.
Yeah.
Side A, side B, everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to the whole thing. That's for sure.
Exactly.
I mean, that's how a lot of samples get. A lot of samples. I feel like I've met producers that they don't listen to, you know, the whole song or, you know, side B, whatever. They just kind of hear a little part. They're like, I'm not gonna. Now you gotta listen to the whole song. Listen to it as like as a fan, you know, not as someone trying to make a beat. You gotta just chill, hang out, listen to it, absorb it. And then you'll find the pieces that you like to cut or whatever, you know. I think that makes me fall in love actually with an artist that I'm sampling. You know, many, you know, 60s, 70s artists, Roy Ayers, you know, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Speaking our language, man.
Man, I love those artists, you know, Quincy Jones or Herbie Hancock and love that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, and that stuff is almost you can find stuff from that era that you haven't heard before and it feels like a brand new song sometimes. Some of that stuff just sounds like
a time capsule.
Yeah, time capsule. Yeah. Definitely. And do you ever feel like when you're meeting other producers or trying to work with other people, do you ever feel like pressure that because you're not doing things a certain way or if you're doing things your own way and you have that style, does you ever feel like kind of ostracized from other producers or other people who are like, oh, why don't you do things this way? Or why aren't you doing things that are exactly like, is that something you encounter often? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people always can critique and they can say, "Oh, it'd be better this way, better that way," right? But in the end, it's like what I want to do. I mean, I know my beats are very hard to keep up sometimes because sometimes they're 3/4 measure, not even always 4/4 measure. Yeah, but the artists I talk to and want on it, sometimes they don't even rap on things like that or sing on things like that. So it's kind of challenging for them too. So it's kind of interesting that they want to come into my world instead of me making something for them, you know? So I love artists that have the versatility and just kind of want to challenge themselves, you know? And I think I really admire artists like that. So that's kind of what I want to do. I want to make a verse or something of an artist memorable on my beat, or on my song. You know,
Yeah, definitely.
I think
Well,
Iman
and
Omari too, man. Like, dude, me and him,
Mhm.
our chemistry is really good. I mean, he's a Grammy winner now, dude. He's the
No
shit right
shit.
now. But
yeah,
right now, me and him, our chemistry is, out of the park. I just filmed that video. I'm gonna say it because that video is coming out on July
go for it.
23rd.
Mhm.
Okay.
With featuring Iman Omari and I Hate You, Alex. The video is called Get Down.
Sick.
It's really sick shoot. Directed by this guy named Gage Garza, who's works with Mick Jenkins. He films for everybody. This dude is legit. But yeah, July 23rd. I was just gonna post it, but I'll do it later.
Well, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Well, actually, I think
Blast the shit out of that.
well, yeah.
Sure.
Well, by the time this comes out, I think this will be like a couple days after that, because our podcast comes out every Monday, so
Oh,
that'll
yeah.
be we'll be lining up right in time for that.
Fuck
Shit,
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, and I think that's always the key thing is not trying to go for where you think you should be and going for, like working with people and going for more of what speaks to you personally, because you'll attract more people to want to work with you anyway. Even people
Dude,
like,
what
yeah,
the fuck?
True.
well,
True.
well, yeah, no, it's true because
No,
if you
you're
have
right.
that,
Yeah.
if you have that style, then you'll find the people that like that style and, hey, I want you to create a song for me. And then you'll get people that, hey, I don't normally do something like this, but I want to move in this direction or try it out. And then they can go to you for that, instead of
Yeah.
you trying to fit into the mold of whatever might be considered, the popular
I
thing
was just
or trying to copy, like, yeah.
That almost comes up against my hot take about stuff.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I was gonna say go ahead because I think that struck a
Oh,
chord
sorry,
with
man.
you for a
I
second.
I was
No, go
just
for it.
I was just tripping, man. I was just tripping because I just tweeted that. Like I put, just work on your craft and just let
Saw
things
that.
come naturally,
I
Yeah,
saw that.
don't force it, because then it's gonna be seen or felt. Your energy is gonna be felt, your aura is gonna be felt. So as long as you just, like you said, just work on your craft, let
So
things come
real, bro.
yep,
naturally, it'll go
Oh,
from there,
yeah. That's been
I
my
was tripping out.
Oh no, that's just been my mode and process I've been on for probably the past couple months. Is really just trying to focus on that, in my own way. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's real advice. But what
Feel
were
it.
we gonna say? Yeah.
well, it's funny that you're talking about production and the aspect about popularity and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, and I'm just like, I don't hear the same level of production and the same sort of like effort in the product in other hip hop artists that are putting out stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't. There's a hot take, so it's controversial. Mind, mark that. I suspect it's because a lot of times people in that genre that you may be working with from time to time are really focused on whatever the prevalent sound is and really just trying to dial in on, say, like, whatever just hit hard last week. Like, they're just like, yo, man, we're just trying to make the next, like, Thotiana. We're just trying to make the next WAP up in here. Like,
Yeah.
just trying
Yeah.
to. So I was wondering, do you feel like that's an aspect of, like, the challenge of working with people at times in this field or this genre?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've been in the studio sometimes, and someone needed my help engineering or mixing or whatever, and it's like a song like that. Like it's not really my interest, but I know it's just part of the business.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm not gonna make something like that, but I mean, I feel, I can make something like that. I'm sure I can work with someone like that. I can work with, if I manifest it enough, I can work with anybody I want. And, so can
Yeah.
you guys. But
Yeah.
but answering your question, yeah, I think, that music's not genuine. Sometimes it's good. Maybe it's good the first listen or two, but when you hear it 50 times on the radio, you're just like, Jesus,
Yeah.
turn this shit
Mhm.
off,
And
Yeah.
now my real point on that was because I want to separate like the themes of those type of songs and their lyrics from the production behind them. Because I think, I fuck with WAP as a song, but I also fuck with it as an idea because I'm like, people don't like women just saying what they want to say is
Yeah.
kind of the underlying thing about it.
Right.
So I feel like there's a message in it. That being said, it's hard to listen to because it's just a god awful song in terms of its production, in terms of the instrumentation. That's why, again, hot take internet, love me or hate me, I give a fuck.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's seriously, that's where it's at. And it's like, you know. So I was just curious, you know, it's like, we didn't name any names.
No. But I've always felt that way about whatever popular songs are coming out at the time, because usually it hits hard really quickly. And the first couple times you hear it, it's like, whoa, okay. And it might be good, but it's about the replay value of how often can you keep going back to it. And
how much could you?
Yeah. And that's why things, you know, like that go away and then they come back years later as like a nostalgia trip. But usually the people that are making music because they, you know, it's something they're interested in or this is their vision, it tends to last a lot longer as far as, you know, you have a longer shelf life, you know, and case in point with all the artists that we've mentioned today so far, you know, they've, you know, their music is still relevant to people today because it, you know, it's not attached to anything in the current time they were living in. They were just making music for themselves, and it just carries over from generation to generation.
Right? I think that's like,
good point.
Yeah. Makes me think of Stevie Wonder. Like, Stevie Wonder's like music made in the 70s, made for fucking ever, dog.
Yeah.
That shit still will sound like the future when I'm a cyborg in 2031, dog. Like, wait, that's like 6 years from now. In like 2131.
Yeah.
I can't do my math anymore.
Yeah, totally.
It's also 10 years from now.
Without Stevie Wonder, man, there's like a lot of artists that wouldn't exist today. Like, to me, Frank Ocean's like the modern day, like I guess his older shit, but like Channel Orange, things that album reminds me a lot of Stevie. Like there's like Stevie Wonder things in there.
That's
Sweet
cool.
Life.
I did like the sound of that record.
Super Rich Kids, like those tracks kind of remind me a lot of Stevie Wonder. Even Tyler a little bit. You can hear the influence.
I've heard that from time to time.
I think Odd Future
I'll
in
admit that
general.
too. Reluctly.
Yeah.
I'll admit that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, and
Pharrell
stuff like
too.
that trick. Oh yeah.
Oh
totally,
yeah. Easy
totally.
breezy. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with man, I'm blanking on the song, but some of the
Hoppy? I was thinking Hoppy.
No. Well, even Happy. It's like some of those chord changes and stuff, and like
Yeah.
that.
What song were you thinking?
Yeah. Hoppy. That's the one
Hoppy?
he did for the. Yeah.
I know every Pharrell song.
Yeah.
I think
That's the one he did for the beer commercial. Hoppy.
Shit. I used to know all the Pharrell songs.
Yeah.
That was
I
a
did
Despicable
too. But
Me song too.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
My kid still goes hard on that song. He does every day.
Yeah.
Walks around the house with that shit on his Kindle like it's a ghetto blaster.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Good times.
Well, so I wanted to ask you about this too. You said that you consider yourself a producer first, and then a DJ, an engineer, and then a rapper last. And for the reason why you said that was because that if you called yourself a rapper, above any of that, or listed that as like more of what you do, then it would be disrespectful to real lyricists. And I was just wondering why that. Well, research, dude. Yeah, research.
He works for the CIA, bro. You can't fuck with Jesse. He knows you. He knows you. That shit's a wire, bro.
I was gonna say you can see the wire I'm wearing though. I didn't put it under my shirt. I made it clearly visible.
That's right.
I'll lock the door right now.
Yeah.
They around the corner.
One step away from Nardwar.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're one step away, dude. I'm glad you showered, though. I'm glad you showered.
I'm glad I
appreciate you.
But I'm just curious why that is, because I don't listen to your music and then I feel like I'm listening to a producer who's, rapping or anything like that. Or I'm listening to someone that it's like, oh yeah, this isn't normally what they do. So I'm just curious, why you think that, or, why your thought process is on that,
I don't really. I mean, I write a lot, but I don't rap, man. Like, I don't consider myself a rapper. I've rapped. When I rap on a song, believe me, I'm like 100%. I'm like, I'm going to sound okay on this. I'm going to sound okay with this artist. Yeah. That's because I've heard the beat like a million times. So I'm like, okay, I think I could come up with something. But it's kind of, like you said, to me, it's disrespectful because, I know rappers that write every single day and rap every day and work on their craft every single day. For me, it's just like a kind of instant. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to write to this and rap to it. I don't really work on that aspect like that. So it's kind of like disrespectful to tell a rapper like, oh, you know, I can out rap you and I can write better than you, when he's been doing it, you know, famous or not, you know, they've been doing it longer than me. So I produce, but sometimes I get that little edge to do it, maybe on one song or two, but it's fun too. But I don't know, man. That's a way different ball game.
Okay.
I mean, is it difficult to come up with the lines you come up with though?
I think in the moment, it's not. Like if it's the right beat and I feel the right moment, it's not difficult. But it'll be difficult to do it for like 12 songs, and I just can't do that. There's no way.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're the one rapping on 100 Racks though, right?
No. 100 Racks is that's Conway the Machine from Griselda, and also Boldy James from Griselda. Actually, on Villains, I don't rap at all.
That's none of them is you?
None of them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so what about the one that I think is definitely you, is the one about the car? The MG?
Oh, on Yellow. Yeah, that one's me.
Yeah, on Yellow. What the hell is the name of the song?
Guilty. Drop Top MG.
Drop Top MG. Jesus Christ, Drop Top. Talk about aphasia. Holy shit. I got gaps in my fucking sequence.
Yeah.
But yo, so that's you on that one, yo, right?
Yeah, that's me. Guilty.
Okay.
So that's fucking sick. I mean, you should be able to at least be like, I did that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fun rapping alongside Memnock the most, just because he's like my really good friend, and he's a great rapper. I mean, you met him, Jesse.
Yeah, he is.
He's a great artist, great rapper. So I think when it comes to rapping, he gives me a little more confidence in the studio. So it's me and him.
That's cool.
Kinda. But I remember, like to me, to rap with someone, you know, on par, like, I don't know, like anybody from TDE or someone crazy like that, like there's no way. Like, why would I put myself in that position? You know, I just got to stick with what I'm good at, you know?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
But by that measure, though, it's kind of like, you know, you can compare it in that way, but also like if you're writing a set of lyrics and you deliver them, then you also have your own unique voice in that too. So you're doing things that other people can't do just by nature of that. You have the experiences you have and the style and the voice that you're working on. And, you know, if you're going to rap on a song, then that's just kind of one tool that you can use that's in your arsenal to just create the song and get it out there.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought about it that way, actually. But
he's full of them.
I think just because I'm so like in tune, like engineering and producing, I don't really think about it that much. But I'm telling you, the beat has to be really fitting.
Yeah,
really fitting. Where I just like kind of pause the beat and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna fucking rap to this. But that's pretty rare. I mean, I rapped alongside Elzai on weekdays, and Elzai is like a legend. You know, he worked with Kanye and all these big artists. So
he like Ghost
I'm pretty proud
about
cats,
that.
Right? That's for sure. What's that?
Isn't that he like Ghost wrote for them, right? Was he like ghostwriting?
No, he was on. Well, I know he was on. He was on Slum Village, and Slum Village made those songs with Kanye, and then Kanye produced them, and he rapped on them alongside him. But Kanye knows all those Detroit guys, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and do you ever feel like in a studio situation? Do you ever feel like in a studio situation that like if you're working with somebody like that in a producer role, and you're like listening to the lyrics and you're listening to the flow of everything and the beat and how everything goes together, and then if you have a lyric idea in the moment, you're not afraid to go, hey, try this instead to whoever you're working with, I'm assuming, right? That even if you don't consider yourself a rapper, if you write a lot, you're not afraid to just say, hey, maybe let's try a verse this way, or hey, maybe we can go back and forth on this, and like, you know, this is good, this is a good start, but like we can make this better. Like you're not afraid to do that, I'm assuming.
I was just having this conversation actually with Memnock, and I was telling him there's a difference between a beat maker and a producer, because a beat maker is someone that just makes a beat and just sends it, and artist does whatever he wants. But as a producer, which is, Roy Ayers, Quincy Jones, artists like that, Stevie Wonder. Those guys are in tune with every single sound, every single voice, and they're gonna have a say in everything. And I think that's what I am. You're almost like you're like an orchestrator. You're just trying to get everything perfect. So I would definitely do that for sure. When it's remote, I do a little bit, but I try to give the artists, creative freedom and not be so bossy, because I already did my part. It's already difficult for them to rap on it. So, and I'm telling you, like 10 times out of 10, they do a fucking great job. I'm like, dude, this shit's dope. Like, but in the studio, it is a little more in tune. I'll stop it and like, I'll tell them, hey, like, let's try this, or let's put this effect, try this ad lib or something. But for sure, I'm not afraid to tell them. I don't care. I don't care who they are. I don't care if it was Kendrick. I'll tell Kendrick, or at least just suggest it. What's the worst he could say? Like, nah, like it's good like that.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
As my old man would say, the worst they're gonna tell you, boy, is no.
No. Yeah.
I get a lot of no's, but that's the worst.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it can be intimidating at first because people who are in those situations and they're starting to work with artists that have credits and they've been doing this maybe longer than you have. If you're coming up in that world, if you have an idea, you might be like, I don't know if I should say anything. And so it is one of those things. If you feel, like if you're in an environment where you can do that and people are coming to you to work with you, then it is a little bit easier. Or even just throwing it out there and just having the confidence to say like, hey, let's try this, and then have it be received is a huge deal, especially as a producer where you might not be in the artist role with working with some of these other rappers or other artists, like where you're the front person, but it's still like you're throwing out your creative vision and ideas, and it's nice to have a platform where those could be well received.
Yeah, in my experience, speaking up and being confident in your ability goes a long way, man. Like they remember that. They'll call you next week, like, hey, come to the studio, stuff like that. Just maybe if you're not even making music, they just want you there,
right?
For some reason,
exactly. Which
so
is
they're
fucking
just
cool too.
They care. They care about your input, So that's tight. Man.
Exactly.
I love it. I love being.
Yeah, that's a thing that I learned along the way. It took me a long time to learn. Just because they're not actually asking you for your opinion specifically doesn't mean your input isn't wanted.
Yeah.
In these creative situations, a lot of times coming up, I was working with people above me, and I'm, the oldest millennial, so I was taught like, well, you can't talk back to your elders, so you can't ask them about shit. And now I'm just like, I make sure that now I'm at that point where I'm also working with younger artists, and I'm always like, what do you think? It's like, because they're feeling that same sort of thing, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't put my 2 cents out there, but I'm like, yes, put your 2 cents out there. It's like, it's needed, it's wanted.
Yeah.
It's like, regardless of where you're at, that collaborative rule still applies. Your best results will be the collaboration, right?
Definitely.
I mean,
you probably scared the shit out of those little kids, huh? Just like,
I scared the shit out of all the little kids, bro.
I don't want to get canceled. They're like, I don't want to get canceled, so I'd rather not say anything.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm perilously close all the time.
Yeah.
Will I be here next week? Is God only knows.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a good point too.
Is it?
With I'm sure you've worked with either producing either in a studio or making songs for somebody that has like either never done it before or they're like just getting into rapping or being an artist, whatever it is. And in those situations, how do you approach that as opposed to working with a seasoned person? Is it the same, or you have to kind of be a little more considerate and just sort of like patient with the whole process? Like how does that work for you?
Man, like for sure you got to critique them, but you got to critique them, not harsh, because everybody had their beginning. Yeah. I mean, I've worked with singers that need to work on their voice, or I mean, I'm not a coach, but I know what sounds good, and you can tell when someone's nervous, things like that. So, I mean, as a rapper too, you got to tell someone, especially beginners. What I don't like is going to a studio and there's a rapper or singer there, and they're like acting like they've been doing it for like 20 years, 15 years, but they just started like 6 months ago, maybe a year ago.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, dude, like, I'm gonna do this for you, but like shut the fuck up or
yeah.
like
Yeah.
I don't know, like that's another thing too. I know I've met plenty of rappers, singers, artists, whatever, and you know who has an ego, who doesn't, and the ones
Mhm.
that are great have no ego, and the ones that are
Yeah.
not that good have a big
100%.
ego.
Yeah.
And it's
Yep.
Exactly. Even when you meet people that are eccentric and outgoing and kind of bombastic, they're not egotistical. It's weird. Like people who have really outgoing personalities and they're really confident and they kind of their energy takes up a whole room. It's not ever in a way where you feel bad about yourself. It's not ever in a way where it's like I'm the shit, fuck everybody else. It's just they just have big personality. And so it's interesting when you meet those people that they have that big personality, but it's coupled with this horrible, like, ego where they just look down on everybody and they're just like, it just makes the whole room awkward and uncomfortable. And yeah, it's like, and that gets around and slow. And like, I think hopefully those people learn over time and they like learn to curb that. And other times people just kind of just don't care and they're so in their own world that it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, a lot of and people in the industry, they're not going to put up with that shit. Maybe one time's enough, and they're like, "Nah, I'm not going to work with him or her no more."
Yeah.
But for me, it's the same thing. I'll do them that favor. I don't know them most of the time.
Yeah.
But I help them out, feel them out. They're cool.
Yeah.
Genuine artists. I'm gonna do whatever I need to help them out.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
And they feel the same for me. But most of the time, it's bigger artists, so that's the crazy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. In my experience, generally, people I've met, like the bigger the artist is, usually the
more down to earth.
More down to earth, smaller the ego is, to the point where they almost don't have an ego, like you're saying. Like I said, I've met people where they're just really outgoing and they're like, hey, and they're all over the place, and you're like, oh, okay, but they're really generous and nice and compassionate people. And so it's just, I don't know, it goes a long way. I think no matter what style or field you're working in, that mentality goes a long way.
For sure, dude.
Yeah.
Wisdom today.
Yeah.
Right?
Wisdom.
Meditative shit.
Yeah. Well, hey, I was gonna say with meditating for a while. I don't know. I'm feeling the effects of meditating for about a month and a half, 2 months straight, not skipping a day, and it's good. It's solid. Yeah. Before I would always miss a few days here and there, or like end up falling out of my routine, and I got to get back into it. Now actually sticking to it, helps out a lot. So
good.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Does he look like Bob back there?
Something like that.
Meditating.
Yeah.
He's definitely in the moment right there.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
So I wanted to ask too, with you didn't actually end up putting out music of your own until 2020, and which is a long time, because you've been making music about 11, 12 years, right?
Dude.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows everything, dude.
Well, so
hardware.
That's it. Well, yeah. Yeah. And then
it's becoming a thing.
I know. Well, I was gonna say and then I'll be like, I have a gift for you, and then you get a knock on your door, and there's some guy with it's like your favorite album that you can't find at any record store, and you're like, what the fuck? How did this happen? Well, I'm just curious though, because that's a long time. I've been in bands where we might not have released anything, but we were playing shows and kind of putting out stuff or recording and doing things like that. And I can relate to that because it kind of took a while for me to find my thing and to find a group of musicians that I'm, settled in with and could release stuff and felt comfortable with. So for you, just in that 11, 12 years you've been making music and honing your craft, how has that evolved? Is it just, you've learned how to, I'm assuming really get into engineering and mix in that time and record? What were some of the big strides you think you made in that time?
Everything, dude.
Everything?
I was mixing, engineering, making beats, just getting the confidence, finding my sound. And I'm not gonna lie, man, one day I just woke up and I was like, fuck, dude, why am I not gonna show my craft to the world, man.
Totally.
Like what do I have? What do I have to lose? You know, maybe some people like it, maybe some won't, maybe no one won't. But all that matters is that, I like it. So why not just share it? I mean, God forbid, dude, something can happen to me tomorrow or next week, whatever, and my music will never be released. So I was like, you know what, fuck this shit. So I just started hitting up artists I wanted to work with, and then I was just sending them my music and stuff like that. And then before you know it, I was done with the album or done with Weekdays, and then I got fans like that, and then I was like, holy shit, and these artists are big. I mean, Currency's huge.
Oh yeah, dude.
If I could work with him, how come I can't work with, someone bigger? Why not?
Yeah, name
so
it.
Then when
Exactly.
I made Villains, I was like, fuck, dude, like this is crazy. Like it just boom, boom, boom. And that's when I got confident, like maybe something can happen out of this. And then once I started selling beats and then charging for engineering and things like, because I just make music, that's my job now. So but once that started happening, I was like, man, like, I could do something out of this. I mean, it's not always about the money or I don't care about none of that stuff or the fame or nothing. I just do it because I love it. Right. But we all have to make a living. It's just part of life, unfortunately.
Right.
But
of course,
why not do it from music? So I was like, yeah, let's start it right now.
Hey man, it's already in the way. I got the blueprints.
Yeah,
I got some other stuff.
Three right here.
Much more.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
As your attorney, I advise you to not say anything.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, and you strike me as somebody that you don't feel like you missed out on anything in that time of like making music and not releasing anything. You strike me as somebody that's everything happens when it's supposed to happen kind of a vibe.
Yeah, for sure, man. You got to live too,
Yeah.
In order to make music, you have to live for sure.
Yeah.
You got experience.
Yeah. Absolutely. And in that time, there's
for me, some reason. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
For me, some reason it took 12 years, so or 11 years, whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Or maybe it was like, I think it was like 10 years because you said I've been making.
Okay.
You know how long I've been making music longer than I know. So I mean, it was 12 years. So that means I released it in 2020. So that's crazy.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's. I think too, there's a weird benefit to that of not only do you have a lot of life experience that you can talk about real things that have happened to you along the way, and that's really relatable for people, but now because of social media and how, art is consumed and music is consumed, it's almost like people know, people can listen to a whole artist's catalog, at once. And like all the artists we're talking about, they can go and listen to any era of it at any time. And you have access to like information about all of these artists and how they made everything. And so when newer artists are coming out, they almost have to be at their fifth album, like tightness and polish at the first album in some respects. So if you've been honing this for 11, 12 years and then you've got a solid sound on your first album, people don't understand that it can take that long to really find your own voice. And when you're coming out with your first album, it appears brand new, but people don't see all the stuff under the hood that like went into that first record and second record and so on.
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's one of those special things about being a musician is that's one of those implicit understandings that we have about this stuff in general that regular folks, as I like to call them, don't have about like, when something new comes out, they're just like, oh, you made a new thing. It's like they don't think about like, been working on this shit my whole life, homie. Like it's been, I've been chipping away at this one.
Yeah.
Every time it's like what little I've put out, everything I put out was like, as long as that took 15, 20 years to finish, I'm like, of course the experience will be like, oh, it's outside, it's new to me. But again, even musicians experiencing that music for the first time will think they have a sensibility about, how much goes into the process of making it ready to present to the world. When you feel it, when you're like how you felt it, you're like, I got to put this shit out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a thin line between saying that too, because you could be like, like you kind of like saying it or like, yeah, fucker, I took like 15 years for this. Or you could like not say anything and just be like, oh yeah, just make music, or keep it. So it's like a really thin line to kind of make him feel like, oh, like, damn, dude, like, sorry, or you just kind of, because is there a time to say it? I'm not, I guess in an interview, right? Because me personally, I never.
It's less about something to actually vocalize, I guess. It's more about an interpretation. It's something that requires the nuance that musicians have about this stuff.
Right.
It's not something I begrudge the audience. It's never something I've actually had said to somebody. Because that's kind of weird. That's like a flex.
Yeah.
That's like it's like telling people how to to look at your art. And no, definitely not about that. But at the same time, musicians appreciate that, and that's something. For some reason, I appreciate that musicians get that. It's like. Artists understand that the process is continual, that it's a lot of effort, and that to finally put something out was actually a challenge in a lot of ways. To put something into the commercial space is different than making music at home. I can make music real effortlessly at home and just fucking vibe out to it all day. Like I have the resources for that, thankfully. But to take it to the next step and make it accessible for everybody takes time and thinking and concentration on my part, at least it feels like, to where it's like, other musicians I know appreciate that. And that's,
True
it's
shit,
hard not to
man.
write, music especially for them.
Yeah, definitely.
That's like, you're basically just putting all your feelings and all your ideas into, audio, and then just showing people that. You're like fucking showing people your diary, basically. So it takes a lot of things to showcase. So you're right, dude. And I mean, any genre, someone releases something, I always give them props, like, all the time. I'm never gonna be like, oh, like, fucking, even if they made it in like a week or two, it still takes a long time. That's a lot, I know Memnock releases albums, like, he can make an album like 3 weeks and beats everything. But those 3 weeks, I know he's doing it every day. He's doing it every day for like 12 hours, probably, I'm sure. So I know the effort. But like you said, like, regular people, they're just like, he probably just like rushed it. Things, fuck no. Like, that takes a lot of effort, a lot of courage, to release it.
And how people will assume that the studio magic made it happen and that you didn't have to put it down like that too.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the way, it's hard to explain stuff like that to my dad because he's an old school cat. And I'm just like, it's not all auto-tuned. It's not all fake or whatever.
One of my favorite things that happened in the last few years was the T-Pain Tiny Desk, where he didn't do auto-tune or anything. And then everybody was like, he could actually sing. And it's like, he's like a world-class producer.
If you listen to his records, you'd know that.
Yeah.
You'd know that.
Yeah.
It isn't hard to know.
Yeah, and it's just...
But it's true.
It's like, do you not know about Zapp and Roger? It's like, it's like a talk box. It's auto-tune.
Yeah.
It's like, it's obvious. It's an effect. It's not like, he's trying to go, no, I actually sound like a robot.
No, I can sing like a fucking robot.
Yeah, no, that's not the point. And to your point with that, with what you're both talking about with the feelings, one of my favorite quotes from Roger Waters from Pink Floyd, actually, he was talking about releasing music, and putting yourself into your work so much to where it is like reading a diary, and you're putting yourself fully into it. And then you put it out there and people go, oh, that's crap. And then he goes, oh, well, you might think it's crap, but it's me, as far as like, and then it's just like, oh, well, okay. And that's the tricky part about it, especially if you're, when you're writing lyrics too, you're more, if I come up with a bass line and somebody doesn't like it, it's not necessarily as personal if someone goes, oh, these lyrics suck, because that's more of your thoughts and feelings and emotions. Your feelings and thoughts and emotions could be in your bass lines, but it's not as visceral and direct as I'm feeling something and I'm putting it down on the page with, pen to paper. I think it
feels much more like a personal judgment, whether it is or not. It can feel much more like a personal.
It's. I think the criticism on that could be a little bit harder hitting than just, oh, I don't care for whatever the actual music is. Because the music, there's a little bit of a disconnect.
Yeah,
I've actually read a review that's this guy. I don't know who it was, but he heard Villains, and he's like, he wrote a review. He's like, not much here, lyrical wise and content wise. He's like, but the production is fucking crazy. And I was like, I don't know whether to thank this guy or, but I was like, I'll take it, I mean, mostly that's me. I guess that goes, I guess I related to what you were saying. I was like, fuck this guy, but okay, cool.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know how to feel about this.
I'm saying I take that as a good sign, my dude. That's a good sign. That's like you finna blow up on some shit like that, because that's how it seems like the silent majority expresses their opinion these days.
Yeah.
About stuff. It's like a lot of people be like, no, it's not that good, but I fuck with it anyway. Like, we'll take that all the way to the bank. Because I go hard with your music, bro. So there's plenty of other people who are losing their minds about it, too.
Sure.
Because this fucking,
thanks,
the
man.
production is crazy. It is.
Thank you.
And I want.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I wanted to touch on this, too, before we, at least to get this in before we wrap up the podcast. With working with all of these different artists and, all different levels, right? So, like we said, beginners, really experienced artists like Currency and just whoever else it may be, you're dealing with situations where you're getting more involved in the music business. And like you said, this is your job and this is what you do. And I'm just curious what advice or pointers or what direction you would point younger artists in about working in the business, about dealing with, just I don't know, labels, contracts, management, or just even networking or just navigating the business part of it and like getting into business dealings with artists and whoever else.
Well, my advice is you're going to make mistakes along the way. I mean, I've made mistakes, I've learned things, but I think the most important thing is just putting yourself out there, making yourself available, talking to people, making connections. And then from there, then you learn exactly how the business works and how to talk to people and what not to say to people and different. I mean, you guys know in music, there's like a million personalities,
Yeah.
But you actually learn how to, make yourself not confused and not like it becomes fun. Like you kind of like, okay, this dude, he's like this. It's kind of challenging. Let me try to work with him. Or someone, it's easier to work with. You're like, okay, this is gonna be tight too. So you kind of enjoy everything, even the little things. So I think just making yourself available and not rushing it. You got to be patient because you can't make a song and you're like, oh, this is gonna be on the radio. You just gotta, I mean, if you love to make music, just that's all that matters. That's in the end, that's all that matters. You don't need to focus on anything else. But when it comes to managers and all that bullshit, like to me, that's the part I hate the most. But making the music is the most important part,
Right. Yeah, not being afraid to make those mistakes to where like you wouldn't put yourself out there going like, oh, what if something bad happens? Like, let me just not do it at all. Yeah.
No, I mean, God damn, it's such great advice.
In my opinion, if you lose or you make a mistake, you don't lose, you're winning because you learn from it, so next time what to do. And then if maybe the first time you do it, it's the right way. So to me, it's a win-win. You just can't be afraid because then you're just stuck.
Right.
Yeah. Without making those connections, you can't get anywhere you aspire to. Yeah. It's so true.
Right. And
it's unafraid.
Yeah, and sometimes those life lessons or what seems like a huge deal at the time or a huge mistake becomes minimal over time, and then
it's a fucking tool in your skill set.
Yeah, it's a life lesson for sure.
Life lesions.
Life lesions. Yeah, sometimes they're lesions depending on how bad.
I have a ton of them back here.
Yeah, I was gonna say depending on how bad it is. Yeah, but it's it's all stuff that you can learn from and you shouldn't be afraid of either, because I'm sure for whatever mistakes happened with you, there was an equal or even more amount of positive things or experiences where you're like, oh man, that was incredible. And even if the incredible part was just putting out, hey, I'm finally putting out an album, like, all right, this is awesome. Or I got this song done this week, like even that could be a memorable experience without any, I worked with so-and-so or there's any of that stuff attached to it. Just, hey, I did something. I accomplished something. All right. Awesome.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you grow musically,
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it, you know, those mistakes and all that adds to that, you know, we're talking about years of experience. It's fuel for, you know, getting all of that stuff done. You know, it's getting that stuff done, meaning the writing process, the work, like, you know, expanding your point of view and perspective. Like it's fuel for all that stuff.
I mean, I'm sure when you guys make music, there's probably, you know, guys starting off or whatever, and they look at you guys, they're like, man, this dude is fucking good. He makes it look easy, things like that, you know. But it's just what you guys do. You don't think about it. And to me, it's the same thing. I've worked with younger producers and younger artists, and I just kind of start moving my hands and doing things quickly, and they're like, dude, like slow down. I'm like, oh man, sorry, like, you know. So
right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's everybody to somebody else. Like you can look at somebody and go,
it's a great observation. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Because I'm never impressed by myself. And every compliment, I'm just like, I'm sorry you had to hear what I did.
Oh, I know.
And that's how I always feel.
It's the same with me. It's, you know, I'll be somebody that thinks whatever about my own thing, but then I'll do something that people enjoy, and then they go, "Oh man, that was awesome," and I'm go, "Okay, well, thanks. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it." But I'm almost surprised, like, "Oh, okay, sure." Like, you know, if somebody likes it, cool,
great.
And yeah, or even recently there was a friend of ours that was playing at a bar out here called Big Shots, and it's like, you know, for a cover bar for people who aren't from the Antelope Valley area.
You know where we at.
And it was a mutual friend of ours. His name's Aaron Munoz, and he plays in all sorts of. He played on your Disaster Cabinet stuff, right? Your album.
Yes, he's on our forthcoming record. He's my bassist.
Yes. So
nice.
I go and I watch him play, and he's in the middle of doing Highway Star from Deep Purple when I showed up in the set. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like, oh yeah, I do too. And I was watching him play it, and I talked with him afterwards. I'm like, oh, you guys sounded great. And he's like, oh yeah, what? He's like, you came in on a Highway Star, right? I'm like, yeah, that's when I got here. And then he's like, oh man, I got a little nervous because like you always kill that song, and I wanted to make sure it sounded good. And it's like, for me, he's always been somebody that he's an insane player and someone that, you know, we went to school together at the same time, and he was always like killed it. Like any song, like could do a Jocko song, could do, you know, a funk tune, like anything. You could throw anything at him and he can play it like perfectly. So the idea of me showing up and him going like, oh man, I wanted to like nail that tune because like you always play it really well. I'm like, you never need to be nervous around me for any reason ever. Like bass related, like no, like not at all. But it speaks to that thing of like, you can do stuff that somebody else wishes they could do, and vice versa with you. You're looking at other people going, oh man, I wish I could do that. But instead of dwelling on that, it's like, hey, just do what you do, and you know, don't stress about it, and
just see what comes forth.
Yeah,
from just being open and honest about trying to make something. You know.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing. However people take it, it's like when people who are listening for what's in the music itself, and there are a lot of people who do listen like that. I call that deep listening.
Yeah.
Those people pick up on things like this, like the amount of care or the amount of emotional output that went into a song or went into the album.
Oh, of course.
You know, and you know, so that's like, if I'm making it, whenever I think about who am I making this for beyond myself, I'm like, that's that X factor of that audience. You know, and they're all over the place and they listen to all kinds of music regularly.
Yeah.
But they'll, you know, like my younger buddies that I do film work with, they're like, they're definitely more like into the more modern like hip hop stuff, but like they listen to the Disaster Cabinet record we did, which is very, you know, like kind of eclectic rock. And they're like, I fuck with this hard. And I'm like, that's so cool to hear. I'm just I'm like, I fuck with it hard too. Thanks, guys. I was like, exactly. You know, so it just goes to show you, like when you put it out there, you know, even know the kind of response you get. And it's so it always takes it to the next level.
Yeah, don't
don't ever hold back.
Yeah.
Don't hold back, team.
Yeah.
It's always the people that you least expect love your music. You know?
Yeah.
Like the people that you think are going to love it. They're like, oh, it's all right. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No, and that was a trip too. Like when we first met and you were at that show and like, oh, I love this. This is awesome. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And like, and I've had that with other people, you know, who've seen us that like it's not normally their style that they're into, but they go, hey, we really liked, you know, watching you guys play. And it's a compliment for sure, because if I want to get people that aren't just in my own wheelhouse. I want people to like it that would never normally like it. And when those people are like, man, I listen to this a lot, or this is great, it's like, oh, that's the best.
Dude, Memnock became a fan that night, like a fanboy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I remember
he loved you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wanted pictures and everything. Like
yeah, no,
Dude,
I remember.
cool
It was awesome. And then I went and listened to that. I think it was the Unorthodox EP that you guys put out. It was like not too long after that.
Yeah, it was him and Leo Legendary. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you were on that too, right? Or no? I forget.
Oh yeah. I think I did rap once.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But there was also
Jesse
like a little
Liddell.
jazzy interlude thing in there. I don't know if you did that or if that was somebody else. It was like
No, I didn't have any production. No production on that.
Yeah, but I listened to that whole thing and I loved like just the whole style of it and the whole flow of it. I loved the jazz track in there that was just the instrumental bit, and I was like, man, this is fucking awesome. Like I can get behind this. This is really fucking cool. So
yeah, that was Leo Legendary.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. It was cool. And like, I don't know, I always just like it when there can be crossover like that. And then you can get people like hanging out and like, going to each other's shows and listening to each other's music and supporting each other when you're not from that scene, and to me, it's like, that's where the best, creative environments and music scenes happen, when you can get that sort of crossover going on.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, man. That's where collaborations are born too.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. I think we got to land the plane.
Yeah, we talked your goddamn ear off.
Yeah,
and we apologize.
But
man, we appreciate you so much,
dude.
dog.
You
This
were
is fucking rad.
Yeah, you were a phenomenal guest to talk with, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. This is a good time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Shit's tight, man.
Anytime.
Fuck with the environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we fuck with you, man. You had the right energy coming into the podcast, so it was cool.
Cool, man. Thanks.
So what should we hit on the promotional button before we actually take off here?
Yeah, well, that video is coming out July 23rd,
July 23rd,
right?
for Get Down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
July 23rd.
Okay,
for Get Down, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Well, you will.
So be watching.
Yeah.
As soon as there's links, we'll put it up in the rafters of the council building.
Yeah, it'll be in that description. So check that out. And
sometime sorry, keep cutting
go for it.
But sometime next year too, I'll drop another album. I won't say the title, but I'll just say there'll be some bigger artists on it. There will be some Wu-Tang. There will be a little bit. I don't want to say too much, but there will be some big hitters on there.
Well, well, that'll be nothing to fuck with then.
We'll be watching.
I had to get one dad joke.
We'll be clocking for you. Yeah, you did good. You got your dad joke in. Your daily required dose.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's got to be one per podcast.
One per podcast.
One per podcast where I make you sigh or groan audibly.
That was like an involuntary one too.
Yeah,
it got like camed out.
Cool. Thank you, man. Have a great rest of your day, and you're welcome back on this podcast anytime.
Anytime.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Cool.
Right on, later. Peace, bro. I'm ready for outro whenever you are. Oh, we're not doing it like that. We're just talking like natural friend people.
No,
Look at me.
I was actually going to
neuroatypical.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, what do you want to do?
I don't know.
No, we're doing great.
Are we fading in from the outro?
We always fade in from the outro.
Okay.
You know what I got to say, though, is like, I don't know if it's off topic or not because we were gradually fading in. But the bumper music from this last week with Adam, that bumper music was sick. So I'm just going to say, praise be to whoever wrote it. I don't know their name, so I can't attribute any credit.
I mean,
I refuse to because I have amnesia.
I have a feeling it might be Max Taylor, who's sitting in this room.
It figures you blow up all of my spots. Why wouldn't you blow up this one?
Well, I mean, again, being the dad of the group, it's like, my job is to blow up the spot.
And you gotta give credit where credit is due.
Yeah. It's not the heat that'll get you, it's the humidity.
It's the humidity.
Yeah.
Don't forget to bring a sweater anyway, just in case it gets real cold. Or the sun goes down.
Is it bad I have a hoodie in my car at all times just in case it gets cold?
No. You also have like water on a first aid kit kind of thing too? Yeah.
Under the seat though.
Now,
keep it cool.
I do that because we were kind of like almost hoarder mentality for a couple of years when I was growing up. Like, we spent a lot of time in the mountains building shelters.
Yeah.
For scouts.
I mean, I don't want to say that your beard gives it away, but your beard gives it away.
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
I wonder why I'm always watching Edge of Alaska with my dad like, fuck yeah. This is what's up.
Well, it's the same thing with Peter McGuire, our illustrious past guest, once said that if anybody looked like, they could get their hands on some psychedelic toads, it would be me. So, I don't know. I guess I have that look about me, even though I'm not a purveyor of toads. So, there you go.
It just speaks to the nature of preconceived notions and also how you look.
And also, yes, you look that way.
Yeah. Which I think is great. It's a great look.
Oh, well, thank you.
You wear it well.
Yeah, well, likewise.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Likewise, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you to NappyHIGH once again for joining us on this council meeting. It was a blast talking with him. Please check out that music video for Get Down, Get Out.
Get down!
Oh, sorry. I'm having
I mean, I said it, right?
For all my Nardwuar.
Did you not hear me?
Yeah. Get Down.
Yeah, Get Down.
Yeah, that's the music video. For all my Nardwuar preparedness this episode, shit the bed at the very end.
No.
Yeah.
Because your thing is this. Your thing is you impress the guest. You are on it when you talk to the guest.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, what happens?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It tanks.
No, I like it.
Yeah, it's I
relate to it.
It's like a theme park. All the money in R&D goes in the front. In the back, no. It's
you
all.
go into those edges, you get into the weird rides.
Yeah. No. So yes, thank you to Nappy for joining us. Please check out that music video, which is in the description. Yes. It's in the description.
That's a good bit.
And there'll be links to his Spotify as well if you want to check out the rest of his catalog. So thank you, citizens, for joining us. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and share if you like it. I mean, I know not your cup of tea, but
like it. I'll be contrary to myself and say like it. We like you. I'll subscribe to your shit. Tell me your shit in the comments.
Contrarian to even yourself.
Yes.
I like it. Yes.
Yeah. Fuck this guy. He's an idiot. I'll be positive. I don't care.
Yeah. Hey. All right.
I love it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, citizens. We will see you next week.
Peace be with you.
Sonic City Council was created by Jesse Davidson and Davey Sipes and engineered by Max Taylor at Desert Sound Studio in Palmdale, California. Thank you to Disaster Cabinet for the outro music. Intro music written by Max Taylor. Sonic City Council is produced in association with Amped Music Academy and the Showcase Venue. For more information, visit theshowcasevenue.com.